Hello, reader. Thank you for joining us. This is the Christian Readers Community Podcast. On this podcast, we will be discussing with fellow readers and authors. You will never lack for good conversations and recommendations of Christian books. If you're a lover of literary works, fiction and non-fiction, then you have made the right stop here. Thank you for joining us again.
Lynne Gentry is a USA Today bestselling author of 20-plus fiction books, a speaker and Bible teacher. 30 years of helping her husband pastor has given her an extensive background in women's ministry, writing, and leading Bible studies. Lynne's passion has always been to ground believers in the Word of God, encourage them to develop a deeper relationship with Christ, and equip them to tell their redemption story. You can find Lynne at www.lynnegentry.com.
Hello everyone, welcome to the Christian Readers Community. This is Faith Ijiga and I have with me Lynne Gentry. I can't wait to hear from her, writing for over 20 years now, and yes, we are sure she's going to take us on a very wonderful ride. Welcome to the show, Lynne.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here. I just marvel at the marvel of technology that I can visit with someone across the world.
Yeah, same here. And it's really wonderful to get to, meet wonderful people like you. Honestly, it's a privilege. I count it as a privilege and I don't take it for granted. Welcome to the show and thank you for accepting my invitation to be here with me.
I'm honored. Thank you.
Yeah. So we want to talk about your journey as a writer, how you started. It's a testimony, and we would like to hear from you how this journey of writing started. But before then, tell us more about yourself, the books you've written, the year you started writing.
Okay.
Before we go into how you started.
Well, I am a minister's wife. My husband preached for 30 years and we were in ministry. He has since retired from ministry. And we have 2 grown children and 6 grandchildren. And for the longest time, I had a medical therapy dog that I worked at a cancer hospital here in Texas. And I really enjoyed working my dog with very, very ill patients. But he has since passed away recently, so I have a big hole in my heart. But I started writing. I wasn't one of those writers that knew from an early age that she wanted to be a writer. But I have always been a storyteller. And that started at a very early age when I grew up on a Kansas dairy farm and I didn't have anybody to really play with. So I entertained myself by making up stories. When early in my marriage, I started writing for Christian Woman magazine, just articles. And that was fun. And then I got neck deep in ministry and didn't really write again until about 20 years later 15 years later, when I started writing dramatic works for children, plays for children, for church. And then that snowballed into writing musicals. And then I decided to give novel writing a try, and I have since written 20-plus novels. I've done some ghost writing for some famous people. I've written nonfiction stories for all the houses. And now I have just released my new Bible study, which is called Stories That Change Everything. And it is a look at the parables of Jesus through the eyes of a storyteller, because it really fascinated me. Why would the Messiah tell fiction stories. So that was a very fascinating study for me.
Talking about you being a storyteller, I I really say you're one terrific storyteller, because I've been reading your book. I'm still reading it, but I've been reading your latest. It's supposed to be a Bible study, but I've been reading it like a fiction book because of how you drew the reader in with stories in all the chapters. It's been really, really wonderful. And I'm like, oh, wow. If all non-fictions would read like this, then we fiction lovers would definitely have a good time reading more non-fiction books. Really, it's wonderful. So you said you didn't start from childhood writing.
No.
So when did you decide, or how did you come into writing?
Well, early in our ministry, I started teaching women's Bible studies. And back then, you couldn't really buy a book like the one that I have sent to you. You had to do it all yourself. You had to do all the research, all the study, all the writing, the questions, and what you were going to lecture on and all that. You had to do yourself. And so I guess, unbeknownst to me, the Lord was preparing me to write in all kinds of ways. And a lot of people are limited into the genre they write, or, for example, some people are World War II fiction writers, and some people are contemporary romance writers. I like all genres. I read everything, except I'm not a big fan of horror, but I read a lot of things, and it's really curious to me why Jesus told stories. And when I started doing my research, I discovered that our brains are hardwired for story. And who was there at the inception of the human body and the human spirit but Jesus? And he knew from the beginning how we are wired for story. And using this little insider information, that's why you're pulled into this Bible study, is because you're wired for story. And so every time in this study that I stop and tell a story, you can't help but engage in it.
Yes, because while I was reading the Bible study, I saw a particular place where you talked about, Jesus just sitting down and, thinking, just sitting down and relaxing. And then just like that, the story just comes and he's like, okay, this is, he would just have this moment where he will get a story idea where he would use rather to talk to people about his father's house. You actually, that was how you said it in that book. Now, when did you make this connection about Jesus and telling stories? I've seen people, say lots of things about the ministry of Jesus Christ, but you vividly explained how Jesus used stories to talk about situations, like you said, that made some people angry, some hopeful, some guilty. So tell us, when did you make this connection?
I made it a few years ago when I was doing a Bible study on the women who were involved in Jesus's ministry. And I came upon a woman in Luke. Her name was Joanna, and she supported Jesus out of her own means. And it was really curious to me because in that little description of Joanna in Luke 8:1, I think it is, it gave a little bit of background on her. It said that she was the wife of Cusa, and Cusa was Herod's Antipas, second in command. And so it really struck me, how did Jesus, this itinerant preacher, come in contact with the most powerful and influential woman in Palestine? And that just, I don't know, it set me on this journey to discover who he was and where he lived, the setting he grew up in. And in that process, I discovered that while Jesus was growing up in this little tiny village called Nazareth, only 4 miles north, just a mere 1-hour walk from his back door, Herod Antipas, the then ruler of Galilee, was rebuilding the city of Sepphoris. And in that process, it really launched me into this deep investigation into the setting of Palestine, the culture, the world that he lived in, and how he integrated that into the stories he told. I just found that fascinating. And as a storyteller, and the more books I write, the more it has come to my attention that I have discovered what is important to me. What matters to me ends up being woven throughout the stories I tell. And so it's interesting to me that during the ministry of Jesus, while he was stopped and asked many questions, I'm sure, only when it was something that really mattered at the core of what Jesus wanted us to know and who he was and is, he would stop and tell a story. He wanted to make sure that everyone within his hearing knew what mattered to him. And I think I don't have one thing that launched me on this journey to write this Bible study, but I think that would be the Holy Spirit's been nudging me for a while to dare to do it. Because, I've been in the fiction world for 20 plus years. It felt strange, but strangely familiar to go back into the nonfiction world.
Because your latest book is titled Stories That Changed Everything, the Parable of Jesus Christ. In this book, you emphasized on how Jesus used stories, to reach out to lives, how stories helped his ministry, how stories was an integral part of Jesus's ministry. So when you tell stories, what do you aim to achieve?
Well, I found it interesting. I've taken a lot of classes on storytelling and writing craft and everything, and they all really hit hard on a storyteller's need to hit the 6 important elements: the setting, the character, the conflict, the plot twist, the theme, and the resolution. And a good story has all of those things woven into it deeply. I found it fascinating when I started looking at the parables list, how Jesus hit all those elements. He hit all those elements because he designed all of those elements. And that's why we're still telling his stories 2,000 years later. I don't know that any of my books will still be in print 2,000 years from now, but the stories of Jesus are still told today.
Do you think it's because Jesus told stories that his ministry is still having impact on our lives today?
Yes, absolutely. That was another thing that really fascinated me, because I guess I always thought, well, number one, I thought Jesus invented parables, but he did not. it was already a story form way, way, way before Jesus. And it was actually a very perfected story form by the time he came on the scene. But I always thought he just told stories for the people of the first century, and that preachers today just like to use them and pull out, little points here and there. I never really thought about how his stories really affect my story until I thought my story was over. And I had a very difficult period of time when I was extremely disappointed in the Lord and in Jesus, and really had to struggle to find my way back to him. And here's the wonderful nugget I discovered, is that our stories aren't over until Jesus says they're over, and he can actually take the worst plot twists, the worst conflicts, the worst settings, the worst characters that come into our lives, and he can write a whole new chapter and a whole new ending to our story. And that's the beauty that I found in this study.
Wow. Really, really. I mean, I quite agree with that. And thank you for, explaining it, that, giving it a deeper meaning, giving it deeper understanding and a deeper meaning about the stories that Jesus Christ told during his ministry here on earth. Really, because like I said earlier, prior to reading your book, I've never really heard it vividly explained that way, about the importance or how crucial storytelling was to Jesus' ministry here on earth. And I think maybe, we Christian fiction writers, should I say, we're actually following in his footsteps.
Right. Well, we try. Right.
Wow, thank you so much, Lynne. This has really, really, really been a wonderful conversation. And do you have the book there with you? Would like to hear an excerpt from your book.
Oh, goodness. Let's see. Okay, let's see. Not everyone is a storyteller, but anyone who encounters Jesus has a story to tell.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I remember that line. I love it. Go ahead.
Yes. And yet we continue to tell ourselves all kinds of stories. If only I'd had enough money to finish college. If only I'd married someone else. If only you fill in the blanks with your regrets, disappointments, and shame. Instead of allowing God to redeem the ugly parts of our story, we shove our tangled mess into backpacks and lug the heavy mess around. But secrets are like naughty children left unattended. They will always find a way to cause trouble.
Where would someone be able to find your books? I know they're available on Amazon, right?
Yes, on Amazon, in all countries. And then they can also go to my website, www.Lynne, L-Y-N-N-E, Gentry, G-E-N-T-R-Y, one word, lynnegentry.com.
And they will find every information they need about you.
Yes.
And your social media handles too. It's on the website, right?
Yes, they are.
Oh, all right. Thank you so much, Lynne. I've had a wonderful time with you, and I'll definitely love to have you back. When are we expecting the next book from you?
Well, I am editing a book I hope to have out by the first of the year. If I get it out sooner, I will let you know. It's called The Choice.
So we're expecting it in January?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Okay. All right. Looking forward to that one.
All right.
Yeah, time is never our friend when we talk when we talk books, really. But thank you so much, Lynn, for stopping by, and I hope to have you again when your next book is released. And thank you so much, everyone, for listening. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. And if you did, please check this book out. It's fascinating and it reads like fiction. For those of us fiction lovers out there, please check out this book, Stories That Changed Everything. You'll be glued to it and you continue to return to the book again and again and again. Thank you so much, Lynn, for writing such a wonderful book. And thank you, everyone, for listening. And until I come your way again next time, I'm saying stay safe, stay blessed, and bye-bye, everyone.